Bueno, ya estamos aquí. Hola, Raúl, hola, Laura. Encantado de...
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the kickoff webinar of the LEED's massive open online course, Unlocking the Potential of Digital Twins for Sustainable On-Demand Urban Logistics. My name is Claudia Ribeiro. I am a project manager at Polis. I think most of you will probably be familiar with Polis, but in any case, we are the Association of Regions and Cities working for sustainable urban mobility. And we are one of the many partners of the LEED project. And we are here actually bringing forth this online course. And together with me, I have Sergio Balaguer Fernandez from EMT Madrid, who is the project coordinator, but also the entity leading the Madrid Living Lab. Have Carolina Cipres from Zaragoza Logistics Center, who is responsible for the management of all the different living labs in the project, and my colleague, Raffaele Vergnani, also from Polis, who manages our working group on urban freight and is working on the LEED project together with me. So the objective for today is to, as the name indicates, to kick off this massive open online course. So in addition to looking into, well, first of all, for those of you who are not familiar with the LEED project, to have a bit of an overview of what it is and what we've been doing so far and what brought us to this capacity building moment, but then also more general information about the course. So not only in terms of content, but also in terms of the calendar of the rollout of the different sessions, and also the different formats of the capacity building that we will be putting forth together with requirements for certification, but also how the Mobility Academy works. So the Mobility Academy is the online learning platform that we will be using for this course. And then we will have a brief moment in which you will be able to ask any questions that come to mind. So before going into the first or the second topic of the agenda and this overview of LEED, I would like you to answer a couple of questions, a little bit of an icebreaker, a couple of poll questions. And these are more for us to know more or less who the people in the room are, the type of stakeholders, and where you come from. So checking if my colleague can launch these poll questions.
Yeah, can you see it?
I cannot. But if you
Not
give me a
yet.
sec. Oh, no, yeah, now
Perfect.
I can. So let's give everyone a second to answer these. Yeah, I see someone saying that they can see the poll results, but they cannot vote.
Let me try to
I'll
relaunch it.
relaunch. What
Okay.
about now?
Yeah, should work. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I think we can stop now. If you could launch the results, Raffaele.
Yeah.
So unsurprisingly, an overwhelming majority of our participants today are based in Europe. Well, LEED is an EU-funded project, and our networks mostly cooperate with European entities, so that's unsurprising. And in terms of stakeholder, yeah, a majority of people coming from the academia, so lecturers, researchers, students, but I'm glad to see also this 23% of cities and regional representatives, as our objective is also to empower city representatives to ultimately use or start using digital twins specifically for urban logistics, or I mean, in parallel, also to be inspired to use it in other domains of city planning. So yeah, I'll stop sharing this now. And so I would invite Sergio now to talk a bit about what LEAD is. So Sergio, just give me the prompt and I'll change the slides for you.
Okay. In the meantime, good morning, everyone, and also welcome to this massive open online course on behalf of EMT Madrid. There we go. Maybe to the previous one. That's it. Thank you, Claudia. Okay, so as Claudia said when making the introduction to the agenda, my name is Sergio Fernández Balaguer. I work for EMT Madrid. For those of you that doesn't know, EMT Madrid is the public transport operator of the city of Madrid. It's fully owned by the municipality. And you may think why EMT as a public transport operator is involved in logistics. And the truth is that our main reason to become involved in this project is that beyond the bus service we provide in the city of Madrid, we also manage quite a big number of underground parking facilities across the city. And these underground parking facilities can play a key role in logistics in order to help achieving more sustainable urban freight. So making this short introduction about why EMT is involved, let's get into the topic. So next slide, please. So as you all are aware, especially after the pandemic, there's been a huge rise of on-demand logistics, and that puts a lot of stress in last mile delivery systems. All the different agents involved are very demanding. So as a customer, we want a very responsive system with very customized products. The industry wants to compete, so they want to provide an instant delivery, and many times also at a very low cost or even free of charge for the customer. Cities, on the other hand, are facing possible negative consequences, and the idea of LEAD is, okay, let's help developing logistics solutions by using low emission vehicles, so low emission operations, by applying adaptive models and digital twins, and putting all together urban planners, city authorities, stakeholders, in order to be able to predict, to evaluate, and to develop also new business models which are feasible and viable and profitable for logistic operators, which at the very end are the ones moving goods across the cities. Next slide, please. So what is LEAD? Okay. LEAD intends to create these digital twins in 6 different cities, which are at the same time urban nodes of the Trans-European network corridors. We have Madrid, The Hague, Lyon, Porto, Budapest, and Oslo. Each one of them, and we will provide you some further information, focusing on specific approaches to logistics. On the upper right part of the slide, you can see the scheme of the project itself. So we have 4 main steps, starting with this contextual framework. The idea is to start understanding which is the local context, and therefore developing different strategies and value case scenarios. Each of these 6 living labs is focusing on a value case scenario. Then to simulate the environment, and to do this, we use a twofold approach. We are developing, or we have developed, a digital twin model, but also we are putting in practice a physical pilot, which at the same time is benefiting from the use of the digital twin and feeding the digital twin with all the data. Because one of the main aims of the project is also to learn more and to optimize these data-driven decisions by applying the digital twin. These experiments in real life are put in place in these living labs. And they are used at the same time then to validate these strategies and to define potential roadmaps to accelerate adoption and to help cities developing better policies and therefore creating new knowledge. Next slide, please. So let's get into the different value cases. In the case of Madrid, well, it's a big city. It's actually the second biggest functional urban area in Europe. We belong to two logistics hubs, the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, and as many big cities have, we suffer occasional air quality and congestion challenges. We are subject to different regulations, low emission zone, etc. And again, the rise of e-commerce has been or is a real challenge. So our ambition is to demonstrate better efficiencies by using a urban consolidation center connected to these trans-European networks, corridors, to assess the flows and congestion and to apply a route optimization engine in different scenarios to explore alternative and sustainable business models and to foster these public-private cooperation mechanisms. The idea is to improve the efficiency and reliability of courier companies and to explore also potential incentives from the point of view of a city, taking the best out of it of data management. On the upper part, you can see the different partners, which include different profiles of companies from research to courier companies to startups and IT companies. Next slide, please. In the case of the hack, they are, their main aim is how to mix these transport services across different platforms to create a more efficient system and sharing resources. Why? Well, the context in which they are applying this is what they call Central Innovation District, which is a redeveloped area which has a very high concentration of housing, high value industry and services in a very densely populated location. So the idea is to kind of hyper-connect the city under the concept of physical internet to generate this more efficient urban freight by connecting different platforms. Next, please. Let's jump to Porto in Portugal. So here is the only one purely private value case of the project. Sona is a very big company, is a retail company, very big one in Portugal, and they want to explore the possibility of using business-to-business electric charging docks for transporting for logistics services, creating an advantage of mixing, because at the same time they mix this logistics, clean transport, retail, energy distribution, and the idea is to optimize their own delivery routes by using electric vehicles, but also taking into account the potential of charging stations, how to take up these projections if the grid enables this mass adoption, shifting to clean vehicles, developing new business models, and leveraging also their own digital platform to capture this additional growth and developing new services to customers. And of course, optimizing this last mile for delivery based on the physical internet principles. Next, please. In the case of the French partner, the city of Lyon, we have the main ambition, which is about providing enough decision support framework to better evaluate the implementation of different solutions, reducing at the same time the motorized traffic, and implementing a flexible logistic infrastructure to support this innovation. This, of course, will foster sustainable and economically balanced approaches and leveraging public policies, promoting this also private-public partnership governance. They are focusing on the area between the two rivers of the Lyon city, is La Confluence, Lyon Confluence, and they want to explore these last-mile distribution models based on soft modes, but also on autonomous solutions, defining the framework conditions to deploy a urban consolidation platform, let's say, in underground parking. So in this regard, it's kind of similar with what we are trying to do in Madrid. To detect freight vehicles using video cameras, so trying to qualify also the flow of freight operations, and having this digital twin approach, of course, excuse me, I'm sorry, by experimenting and modeling. Next, please. In the case of Budapest, they want to really move forward spatial planning. So they are focusing both on macroscopic assessment in order to take the best out of it of the use of urban consolidation centers, defining which is the optimal distances, also how the use of these alternative solutions impact on air quality, in this way redefining potentially different urban policies. Of course, it's a mean of emphasizing and promoting electric mobility. And the use case is also similar to Madrid. It's a big city, has very concentrated population. They suffer occasional quality problems, and well, they want to really assess how to improve these logistics by advantages, the advantages that provides urban consolidation centers, either big ones or micro platforms. Next one, please. And the last one, Oslo. Their main aim is to explore crowd shipping, basically. So by using the advantage of crowd shipping solutions and the urban transport network, they're thinking of using a micro hub located close to one of the main stations, developing different full potential scenarios, and having different operators involved. That could be commuters of the public transport network, Nimbus community members, and also regular logistic operators. The idea is to develop business models which are financially viable and beneficial from the social and environmental perspective. Also exploring these alternative delivery services, and having an energy-friendly supply chain by applying these crowd shipping services with more flexibility and integrating data modeling as well. And now, in the next slide, we will focus on the different strategies of the project, which are these four main ones we have already mentioned. Innovative business models, so based on the challenges that the on-demand economy brings into the scene. Developing agile freight storage and distribution, and this is also linked to the different approaches, either crowd shipping, multi-echelon and physical internet-inspired approaches, or this capacity sharing as well. All of them using low-emission delivery vehicles, mostly fully electric, and learning more about these smart data-driven solutions. So exploring the potential of these data-driven decisions by the application of digital twin models. Next, please. And this is a kind of a diagram or a scheme how this really works. Basically, what we try to do, we've been doing last months, is to replicate the physical world into a digital twin, kind of a model. So the main, one of the main achievements of the project is the creation of a digital twin generic models library. It's a kind of an open repository in which you can find all the models, and each city can pick up and tailor-made their own digital twin based on their approach and the value case. Then by different sources, the data provided by the operators, sensing, etc., we feed these different models, and then we have also an interface what to interact with. So this DDD-DAS, you can see on the left-hand side. Oh, excuse me. Again, is what we call dynamic data-driven application system. So it could be kind of, all this could be kind of the brain of LEAD. Next, please. The main innovations. Okay, where could we start from? Well, the application of digital twins in last mile logistics. That's the main innovation, which helps cities embracing this technology and the value of data-driven decisions, speeding the transition towards physical internet and co-creation of solutions. All the digital, all the living labs have their own communities of practice, let's say, with whom to share the different achievements and advancements of the project. Next one, please. And the main impacts, well, clear understanding of these strategies and the measures to achieve essentially zero emission city logistics by 2030. Then new tested and demonstrated practices for a better cooperation between private and public sector, no matter which stakeholder you are, and clearly providing inputs also for the preparation and implementation of the different policies of the city, and mostly based on these data provided by the project. Next one. Something important is that the project is fully aligned with the Green Deal and the Strategic Transport Research and Innovation Agenda roadmap. So you can see on green and blue the topics which are fully aligned with these strategies. And something which is also quite relevant is that the project is open to share its achievements with other cities. So in the next slide, you can see as well the 10 cities and regions from 7 different countries that have been selected to become members of this lead transferability platform. Nevertheless, if you are working for any city which potentially can be interested, don't hesitate to contact us back for further information. And I guess this is the last one for this generic introduction. Oh no, I'm missing the partners, of course. Well, you've seen them in the different Living Lab sections, but here you have all gathered in one single slide. So yes, now I guess it's the last one. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. And I know that unfortunately you have to leave us for now, but in any case, Sergio will be around if you have any questions once we start the course. So
don't hesitate to contact back either through our Polys and ZLC colleagues. I will be happy to answer any question, but now unfortunately I must leave. So enjoy the rest of the course and see you soon.
Thank you, Sergio. See you soon.
Bye.
So after that, we can move on into more specifically the course itself, the calendar. As you are probably aware, the whole concept of digital twinning originating from the manufacturing sector is still quite novel, particularly its application to urban freight. So everything that we've been doing the project in a way is first of a kind. The idea is that this course is also first of a kind. Before handing over to my colleagues, just giving an overview and also explaining a bit the logic of how we've structured the course. So the first 2 units, which will be presented in more detail, are more introductory units in the sense that they focus, the first one on urban freight and the on-demand last mile component more generally, so more of an introductory course. So perhaps this is not as useful for everyone. I expect that a lot of you are quite specialized in this. And then we go into the living labs and how living labs can serve as accelerators for mobility in general, but specifically for logistics, because as you saw from the presentation before, living labs are really at the core of what we've been doing on LEAD. And then units 3 to 5 is when we get really into the juicy bits of the course, specifically on digital twins. And the idea here is that we probably will have a little break between them. So between units 2 and 3, and then going into the modeling aspects, going into the technology aspect, and finally, and very important for our city and region representatives, to the decision-making aspect, here using the LEAD platform, which is an output of the project that we will be presenting. Yeah, so all in all, these again are just some of the project partners that are contributing more actively to the conceptualization and to the lectures that you will be seeing. But worth mentioning that even though the vast majority of the content created comes from within the consortium, we've also reached out to other experts to contribute. And here, important for you to know, so like I said, we have this split in terms of time between units 1 and 2. So unit 1 will start next Monday. Unit 2 will start on the 13th of March. And then the goal would be that Unit 3 would start on the 8th of May. So this would give a bit of a break in between. This is to be confirmed, mostly because of matters related with the project implementation and whether or not we'll get an extension. So we will keep you posted. There is a chance that we will have to anticipate this, but we should know soon. So it might not start at 8th of May, Unit 3, but a little bit earlier. So having that said, I would hand over to my colleague Rafaela just to go a bit deeper into what we'll be discussing in Unit 1. Rafaela?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Claudia. Good morning, everyone, also from my side. My name is Raffaele Vergnani. I'm, as Claudia introduced at the beginning, I'm a colleague, also working at Polis and also project manager and coordinating Polis working group on urban freight. So I'm very happy to give you a glimpse of the first unit on urban freight and on-demand last mile logistics. Next slide, please. So this unit is its aim scope. So we have been preparing this in the last few weeks, and so its scope is to, as Claudia said, so to provide an introduction to the urban freight topic. So to set the scene for this course with a focus on on-demand and last mile logistics. So in particular to focus on current trends, challenges, influencing factors, and decarbonization of operation. As you perfectly know, so urban logistics has been facing great challenges in the past few years linked to e-commerce rise, for example, the impact of pandemic. So a lot of changes and a lot of also changes linked to digital technologies that are being implemented. So we will starting from contents shared and developed by the lead partners, as also Sergio has the chance to introduce before, but also open to other cities, local authorities, stakeholders from the logistics sectors and other year-funded projects also, because there are also running up in the previous year and right now also other EU-funded projects that are also producing relevant contents and knowledge that is useful also to link with the lead activities. The unit is split in 3 modules, and as you've seen, so they will the start of this unit will be next week on Monday, and it will be the 2 weeks duration. Next slide, please. So the first module focuses on trends, challenges, and factors influencing city logistics. And in particular, this module will give you an overview of the Polis-ALICE joint guide that has been developed at the end of 2021 and presented at the Polis conference in Gothenburg. Who is ALICE? ALICE is the European technology platform working for improving logistics at European level. So they have the aim to develop a comprehensive strategy for innovation and market deployment of logistics and supply management in Europe. So, and they bring together all main stakeholders involved working in logistics, retailers, and freight forwarders. So this is why we have the reason we have a cooperation with them is to make these 2 worlds of cities, local authorities on one side, and industry players to talk to each other more to face urban logistics challenges more efficiently. So in this guide, there are several inputs that are useful for cities, for local operators to improve urban freight. And we have among the speakers, one speaker from ALICE that explains also what this guide aims for and can be useful for the local regional level. Then we have also a further explanation on the challenges that are currently facing by urban freight. So we have an example of the city of Rotterdam, one of the most advanced cities that is tackling since already some years these issues, and also in the Netherlands where there are applied nationwide plans so to improve urban freight also at a more national scale. And then also a contribution from Molde University, Edoardo Marcucci, Valerio Gatta, so also more providing also academic contents and additional inputs to this topic. And next slide, please. Module 2 will focus on electrifying the last mile. So also here, Polis has been developing in the last years, together with the Transport Decarbonization Alliance and C40, and a so-called how-to guide, so which has a more focus on low emission zones and with a particular focus on freight. In particular, the guide provides a focus on push and pull policies, enable the transition to zero-emission urban logistics with a particular attention to how electrifying the last mile and vehicles to be used. The guide contains a lot of best practices, also application not only Europe but worldwide, also because some of our partners that contributed to this guide are also working at a worldwide level. So my colleague Claudia is a speaker of this unit and will provide you more information and detail, and also where to find the how-to guide that you can consult. And I also seize this opportunity to say that this how-to guide is being updated in the last few months. So a second version will be published in a few months at the International Transport Forum conference taking place in May. So you will be, of course, posted, follow our channels, website, social media, and will be informed also on how the second version will be released, and you can also access to and consult it. Next slide, yeah. And the last module, so is focused on last mile distribution schemes, and it will focus on different last mile distribution schemes from also micro hubs and other applications that have been developed in some areas of Europe and also by other projects. Here we have 3 speakers from Zaragoza Logistics Centers and further application from Flanders, so the city of Mechelen, and also the cluster logistic in Flanders. In particular, here we have a focus on the ULETS project, which is also one of the sister projects that has been running in parallel with LEAD. So here we will focus on dual flow hubs and cargo hitching. And also we have a last mile application that has been applied by the Surflog project in this Belgian city of Mechelen. So very interesting also contribution to hear how also they link with the topic addressed by LEAD. And I think that's all from my side. So over to Carolina for the Unit 2.
Thank you, Rafaele. I'm Carolina Cipres. I'm Director of Research at Zaragoza Logistics Center. And I wanted to introduce you to the second unit that is on Living Labs as innovation accelerators for mobility and logistics. And it's important to notice that the order of the units, we try to make sense in the sense that we need to see first in Unit 1 the theoretical topics, and now in Unit 2 apply them to Living Labs. So next slide, please. So as we already mentioned, we ZLC are the leaders of this unit, and the scope of the unit in general is really to introduce you to the concept of a living lab and how they are incubators and accelerators for innovation in general, and specifically in this project for urban logistics. So we want to learn from those concepts in Unit 1, the strategies that also Sergio mentioned at the beginning, the different innovative strategies that we have tested in LEAD. We want to apply that in different living labs, and we want to show you how that is done. We have split the unit in 3 modules, and it will start in March 13, and we will have a module per week till the end of March. So in next slide, Claudia, we can see the modules themselves. The first module is horizontal, and here we want to introduce you the role of communities of practice, living labs, and sustainable evaluation frameworks. Sergio already introduced it at the beginning. Communities of practice is really important for LEAD because in each one of the cities, a community with all the stakeholders necessary to take decisions in the city. So we have the cities themselves, the operators, academia, but we also have different companies involved in the region, and specifically associations, neighbor associations, because for sure decisions that are impacting urban logistics are also having impact on the cities themselves. So we have them involved in the community of practice. So we want to show you in this unit, in this module, what a community of practice is. A group of entities or stakeholders being interested in the same topic and taking decisions and together co-creating solutions. So this is one of the learnings of LEAD project, how to co-create solutions. The second thing you will see in this module is what is this living lab. We have mentioned the living labs throughout this webinar today many times, but we want to highlight what specifically a living lab is. Sometimes there is a misconception, okay, they are pilots. No, they are much more complex than a pilot because, first of all, they are iterative, so we learn and adapt from what happens in a living lab, but mainly the complexity comes from the fact that they are embedded into the daily operations of the cities or the companies involved. So this is not an isolated pilot, it's something happening in true life, let's say. So we want to show you the details of how we understand a living lab, of what we can use them for specifically in logistics. And last in this module, we will have the colleagues of the UPM showing the sustainable evaluation frameworks, because really what is to be said about the living labs, we have to learn from them. Did they work? How the strategies were implemented? So we have developed different frameworks to evaluate those living labs, and there will be part of this module showing you this kind of evaluations. We are also aligned with Civitas Elevate on the evaluation framework, so you can also learn from that. Then modules 2.2 and 2.3 are similar in how they are framed, because they are framed across 2 different living labs of the 6.1 that Sergio already presented, but they are structured the same way. So we are introducing you with the living lab approach, then specifically with the implementation that the living lab has done, but also with the digital twin. As you can imagine, there have been many challenges in terms of going hand in hand with the physical implementation and the digital twin, because not always the cities or the operators speak the IT language, and also the other way around. Modelers have to also understand the challenges in gathering data and being able to fit the models with data. So going hand in hand with that is also a challenge that we want to show you in this course. And specifically in these 2 modules, in the first one, we will focus on the urban consolidation centers in the inner city. So we will have the colleagues involved in the living lab of Madrid, showing you all the different approach they had, and specifically how they transformed a parking lot into a micro hub in the city center. And then they used electrified vehicles to do the last mile distribution to the end customer. So this is a true innovative concept that we have tested here in the project, but also creating a digital twin with models mimicking that with 2 echelon distribution is one of the main innovations that you will be seeing in this module. And the last module, 2.3, is crowdsourcing and hyperconnectivity. So it's linked to the HAC Living Lab. Again, we will have the Living Lab partners presenting this module. And here the hyperconnectivity is on the one hand with the physical connectivity in the city, and Sergio already introduced the concept of the city, the HAC is foreseen, but also in terms of digital connectivity with different platforms. So we will have crowdsourcing. We will introduce you to the concept of crowdsourcing and how individual bringers can declare themselves as potential bringers of freight and then together in this platform. But it will not only be crowdsourcing. We will have parcel lockers, we will have cargo delivery, we will have also fresh products company. So it's truly hyper-connected in the sense of different platforms connecting different digital solutions together. So we want you to showcase these 2 living labs because of all the innovations they have behind, not only in terms of urban logistics strategies, but also in terms of the digital transformation behind. And I think that's all for this unit.
Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Rafaela. I would like to also remind people that they can ask questions in the Q&A, even though we will have a dedicated part for questions in the end after the presentation. So thank you to my 2 colleagues. I'll move forward by briefly mentioning the units of the second part, as I explained earlier, of the course. So here in Unit 3, we will get into the nitty-gritty of it, mostly mentioning model types, the model library we've created in the LEAD project, agent-based models, data requirements, which I believe will probably be something that everyone is very interested in, and also scenario planning. And this unit will be coordinated by our partners at TU Delft. Then Unit 4, led by RT System X, will focus on digital twin technologies. And here we'll also show some examples in other sectors. So for instance, an example of a digital twin for energy districts, and then go into the business components and the technical components needed for the creation of a digital twin. Then last, but definitely not least, Unit 5, led by our technical coordinator, who is in Lecom, will focus on decision-making. So here, mostly on the tools, on the decision-making tools and the lead platform created. So it will be more of a tutorial of sorts, and hopefully by the end of it, city representatives and region representatives can have a useful tool to use in their local logistics planning. In any case, fear not, at some point, the lectures might become, well, they will have to become somewhat technical because that's what the topic entails. But we do have moments of interaction planned where then you can dig deeper and ask any questions that then may arise from watching the videos. So going into the format itself, because we spoke about the content, but it's important to understand how this will work. So what I just mentioned, these moments for interaction are the so-called exchange sessions. So these will be webinars of sorts, together with some of the lecturers. These will be selected as the course unfolds and we see what kinds of questions come from your side and what are the needs to go more in depth. So these will be live sessions to be scheduled, but the basis of the course are pre-recorded videos or lectures that will be uploaded onto the Mobility Academy, which is our learning platform. So each video is maximum 10 minutes. And it's self-paced. So what does this mean? It means that during the time that the module is, I'm going to say ongoing for lack of a better word, you can decide, you can watch 1 video a day, 2 videos a day, as you wish. What is more important is that once we do publish the tasks and assignments in the platform, then you complete these on time. And for that, obviously, you will have to have watched the video lectures. And an additional element of exchange will be the moderated forum discussion. So it's also a component of the Mobility Academy where you can exchange with lecturers, but also with other participants. And we will be also uploading additional reading materials. Some of them mentioned the lectures, others not necessarily. And one last thing I would like to mention as well, the videos that will be available also have English subtitles, so you can enable this if sometimes it will make it easier to understand the content. So in terms of workload, we have calculated more or less 2 hours a week. I think watching the videos will be less than an hour. For instance, module 1.1, I think it's a total of 4 videos and 40 minutes. And then, yeah, it's self-learning time added to that by looking into the additional materials and into the assignments. And going into the assignments, these will be varied. They can be surveys and quizzes. They can be asking you to reflect on a given topic and sharing your thoughts, or they can be looking into contributions given by other participants and giving your feedback on that. And what is important or might be important for some of you is we will be providing certification at the end of the course. But for that, you will have to complete these tasks. So it's all good if you just want to follow the course and you don't necessarily want the certificate. But if you do, please bear in mind that you have to fulfill these tasks and assignments. And yeah, so for everything related, especially with the Mobility Academy platform, you can reach out either to myself or my colleague, Rafaele, and here are our contact details, and you can just write to us if you struggle with the platform at some moment. So last but not least, what is this Mobility Academy platform? I think it's important to explain. Some of you might be familiar with it, some might not. So it's a Moodle-based learning platform that has been developed by Ruprecht Consult. We at Polis have been working with it for other e-courses, for Solutions Plus, for instance. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. And it's, in my opinion, quite simple to use and to understand. And there's a whole range of other courses on mobility that are available there if you want to check them out later. So this is just a view of what the main page looks like, and here some information also in terms of technical issues and content and workload that has been presented here. And yeah, so I've already mentioned certification, but what might be interesting to you as well is that, so over the next few months, the course will be moderated. And what does that mean? It means that all the partners will be engaging in discussion with participants, providing feedback, looking into the task completion and all of that. After that, the course materials will remain on the platform and will also be in other platforms, but it won't be moderated. So interaction with project partners may still happen if you reach out to us directly, but it will be serving more as a repository, not an ongoing learning exchange. So this is important to know as well. And then in terms of registration, so I would ask my colleague Rafaela to just put the link on the chat, and you can follow this. But for you to register, you have to first create a new account. And here on the image, you can see how you can do it. That is, unless you already have an account created. So then you just have to provide some general information, age, country, and then have a look into the terms and conditions and accept them. Once you do that, you can choose a username, password, and then, you know, it's the typical registration process. You will then eventually receive an email with a confirmation link for the activation of the account. So once that is done, you can sign up for the lead course. And here we've also inserted directly a QR code and the link. And as you see here on the right-hand side, this is how it will appear to you. You can just click enroll and you will be enrolled for the course. Also worth mentioning is that you will receive prompts from the coordination team. So we will let you know when new videos are uploaded or when given tasks have been made available for you to complete. And this will then land on your inbox. You will get like these summary reports of what has been published there. So we will always be in contact with you to let you know when new materials are available. So having that said, I would like to launch, and I think I can do it myself, a second poll asking if you've already signed up for the course, and if not, if you will. And then we have a third option that I hope no one will reply, or one is replied. But yeah, so we really invite those of you who have not yet registered to please do so, and to follow us on this journey. So I'll just share the results real quick. So half have more or less signed up and the other half have not. So we look forward to your registrations. In any case, we will be sharing all of the information that was shown today in the email afterwards. And the recording itself of this webinar will be made available in the Mobility Academy in case then you have anything that you would like to check again. And yeah, so having that said, I open the floor to any questions. Let me see if there's. So there's an open question. I've enrolled but didn't choose a certificate when I did. Can I still get the option to get one? I'm not sure what this means, but yeah, as long as you complete the assignments, then you will be receiving the certificate in the end. So just make sure that you watch the lectures and complete the assignments, and by the end you would receive the certificate. Another question is if there's a cost for the courses or for certification. No, so the course is completely free of charge. The only requirement is that you sign up in the platform, which is in itself also free, and there's also no cost for certification whatsoever. And then let me check if there's. So I don't know if there's any more questions. It doesn't seem to be in the Q&A.
Maybe I see one hand raised on the participant list from Joseph Michael.
Go ahead, Joseph. You can talk now. Can you mute yourself and talk? Doesn't seem to be working. Well, in any case, there's a couple of other questions that I'll pick up on. Are we looking for partnerships in terms of digital twins, or we think we have everything we need? Well, I think that for the project tasks itself, we do have all the expertise. What might happen after the project and as our cities strive to continue this work, then they might need to establish different partnerships. But for now, I think we have all the necessary expertise within the consortium. One more question. Must I have a specific software program? No, there's no need. You just need an internet connection, a laptop, maybe some headphones, and that's it. So quite simple in that sense. I don't know, Joseph, if you can talk and want to still ask your question. If not, just type it in the chat as well or in the Q&A, and we'll try to answer. Yeah, you're unmuted. You can ask your question if you want. Okay. Maybe that's not working. So, well, having that said, I think that we can close this webinar. I would like to thank everyone for your time and also for your interest. And yeah, we hope to see you soon and to interact a bit further as the course goes on. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.